We are now talking with longtime former councilor David Hall, who had taken a bit of time off and has now decided to try to regain a seat on the city council. The fact that he does happen to bear, in my opinion, a striking resemblance to former Prime Minister Winston Churchill shouldn't enter into the fray, but welcome to the program, Dave Hall.
Thank you.
You know, so tell me, what is it that's compelled you to get back into the fray, get back in the city council? Because previously in history, you consistently were one of the top vote getters.
Yeah, well, you know, I've always been a public service person. All through my career. I had 40 years almost as a policeman, 8 years on the city council, and since I've been off the council, I've been what they call as a constituents representative. When people have some issues concerning the city, they call the mayor's office or they call my cell phone, and I'm there to try to address their issues. And it works perfect for me. I'm busy, you know, and for my age, I'll be 78 very soon, and I'm dedicated to the city of Haverhill. I'm involved with 5 city parks that I've been mowing for five years.
Wow.
I do, and this is something I look forward to, keeping the city good. And I take care of my seniors. I take care of my seniors. So life is good, and I'm very thankful for how good the city has treated me. So this is sort of a payback and thanking them for it.
I've got to ask you this question, Mr. Hall. You've been you're a longtime police officer, retired police officer. You've been a big proponent of public safety, both for police, fire, and emergency services and all. You know, I'd like to ask you this question because you're a person that's been on the front lines historically, and you maybe have a greater connection with people that are on the force in the rank and file. And that's this. In Lawrence, you know, the city just south of us, they had a very interesting dynamic between their city council and the mayor relative to illegal aliens and how to deal with them if stopped for a particular infraction, if they violated the law. Then if they do happen to find that they're here illegally, then what do they do? And the mayor and the city council were at odds, but he followed through. He acquiesced, although he didn't happen to hold that particular view. Some people, it seems as though there's a strange dynamic in law enforcement where there's some degree of frustration where maybe do policemen have a difficulty figuring, well, how do I deal with the fact with selective enforcement of the law? What do you hear out there in the street?
Well, you know, I'll tell you that the citizens of Haverhill are very fortunate to have a police department as so qualified as we have here. We get a chief that's second to none. And I know I worked under 5 different chiefs during my career. And Chief Denaro is one of the best I've ever seen. He's got the respect of everybody that I've ever talked to. And we're very fortunate he's got his subordinates motivated. Crime in the 9-region town, Haverhill is one of the safest places to live. But they utilize their resources. The chief brings in the state, the feds. He answers all the complaints. He's got capable people. He's got them in the right position. And I'm such a strong ally and advocate of what the chief has done in this city. I've seen what's happened between the mayor's office and the chief's office and even the fire department. The morale in the fire department has skyrocketed up.
Because he's now the Commissioner of Public Safety.
Yeah, he's directing. And
but how do you deal with this issue of undocumented workers or illegal aliens?
Well, the issue is this: is that we have the resources immediately if we find this. We get federal officers in the city who can handle this. It's called ICE.
Yeah.
And they work strongly out of Lawrence. Lawrence has got a big issue up there, and they're trying to address it. We don't have that problem here. We used to have some issues with the gangs. Right. You never hear that anymore because the chief went out and he took his game plan and he put it to use, and he squared away the gangs. You don't hear them no more.
So you think the department, you're a big supporter of the fact the department is being proactive and not being reactive in a lot of this stuff?
Absolutely, and the chief will tell them, if we don't have a place in here for you if you're not proactive. We don't need no negativism. We don't want to hear complaints. You got a complaint, we got somebody to help you.
What do you think the biggest issue or challenge confronting the city of Haverhill is right now?
Well, right now, I don't know if it could be a challenge. I want to see Harbor Place go. You know, I think that's one of the big things. Even now, the mayor's over there trying to work and get this Stevens Street developed. It's too bad we had that fire, but I still think it's not going to throw a roadblock.
Yeah.
The mayor is so upbeat. He appeared before the council last night to praise of the fire department. You know, how many administrators would be there to do this? He's down there today, down on Water Street, commending the firefighters for the work that they've done. Nobody got hurt. We went through a 7-alarm fire, tragic fire. We had over 40 fire departments in this city at one time.
Wow.
Trying to get this thing under control, and they did it with no injuries. And what that means to the city is if we had an injured fireman, we'd have to put him out on leave and pay him. This way here, they're all healthy, they're working.
Harbor Place comes online, let's say in a couple of years. What happens after that, do you think?
Well, he's got so many things going. Now they're talking about putting a new parking garage up, a parking deck. The one we got now is obsolete. So there's so many directions that he's going in. And that's why, this one reason why I'm running for council. I want to support him. And history will tell you, several years when I was on the council, I wasn't his ally. A lot of his issues I didn't agree with. But now that I've been back and I'm looking at the full picture, the mayor has done everything right. Everything right. You know, and he stumbled very few times, very few times. A lot of people will say this or that.
If he did, you were there to correct him,
yeah,
I hope.
that's exactly. You know, and this is it. And that's why, you know, when I got off the council and I looked at the whole picture of the city, how blessed we are. The crime has gone down. You know, I can see the atmosphere. Small public safety issues that people are concerned about, when they make a call to the police department or to the mayor's office, it's being addressed. We're very fortunate to have a city as safe as the city of Haverhill.
What do you think of, are there any looming expenses, given the fact that the city, you're being on the city council, you deal with approval or denial of budgets? And if that's the case, are there any large items down the road that you're going to have to confronting? And that is, one happens to be the hail debt, which you get some type of a subsidy from the state, thankfully through Brian Dempsey.
Right.
And but then you're also talking about pensions that are associated with that on a separate basis in order to try to help deal with that.
Well,
pensions are a big issue nationally, not just locally.
You know, and I noticed that I've been retired 13 years, and I get a city pension. And there's been some modifications in regards to my health plan, but nothing drastic.
Okay.
And what has happened by what the mayor has done, and you know, at first people say you can't do this and that, but it hasn't really drained on the people who are receiving the pension. And, you know, they're still, you know, they're not the richest people, but we're being subsidized more than fairly,
Okay, so everything is in place. You still
Yeah,
consider
like
that to
I
be
said,
the case down the road?
I can see the water issue, new pipes and stuff from the water department and wastewater. But thank God the mayor is there with some free cash. All of a sudden, we find out we got, you know, $700,000 in free cash. This is put onto the tax rate, and it reduces it. So some of our people, and I see it all the time, especially in developments where they've been there 50 or 60 years, these World War II vets or widows or whatever, some of these people are living on $1,000 a month, which is not contributed to the city. This is the system. But the city tries to take care of them.
Excellent. Dave Hall, running for re-election, actually running for election as a newbie, but you've been a long-time counselor previously, so you're bringing some historical experience to the job. We wish you the best of luck
thank you.
in the upcoming election.
Well, if I'm elected, I will do the best I can.
Very good. We'll be back in just a moment.